Title 17 U.S. Code 512F provides penalties for the deliberate misrepresentation of copyright infringement. The owners and authors of this video, the common denominator, and the Paramystic Broadcast Channel are a nonprofit 501c3 exempt organization and believes in good faith that it constitutes educational fair use, as per Title 17 U.S.C. 107. Persons, agencies, attorneys, and or social media algorithms filing a false or frivolous Digital Millennium Copyright Act complaint may be subject to civil liability. Warning: the following content may contain elements that are not suitable for some audiences. Accordingly, viewer discretion is advised.
Well, as always, I cannot believe things. It's just so wonderful. I've got a very special guest. I always open my program with I pledge my allegiance to the Constitution of the United States of America and to the republic for which the flag stands, one nation under Almighty God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Um, we're at that time, and I thought this was a great quote by Thomas Paine. The harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. Thomas Paine wrote this way back when. And trust me, they went through a lot of conflict for us to be the nation that we developed and grew into. And right now, I'm going to bring on board JJ Carrell. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for having me on. I'm excited about what we're going to talk about tonight, even though it might be dark and hard to stomach. I'm excited about it.
You know, sir, you really impressed me so much when we met. I walked in and I wanted to speak with you, and I couldn't remember JJ Carroll because we had AJ Carroll, who's a sheriff that just got elected, and you were kind enough to give me your time, and I thank you so very much. And as I started realizing, we are in a much more dire strait in this nation than we could have ever fathomed. Julie, by the way, down here, she is with Under the Bus. So, Julie, you type out what you like. I would love to put it up, and you know that. So, JJ, where would you like to start, sir?
Well, I mean, the we're seeing well where we start, right? This is the problem is so big. It's so layered and it's so complex because they made it that way. They wanted it to be layered and complex, and they being the elites in our government and in our society, they have decided from prior to Joe Biden taking office. I know that this happened because I watched it happen play out in real time as I was a Border Patrol agent in my last year of my career in Joe Biden's first year in office. I watched him lay out 94 executive orders on day one, obliterating the United States Border Patrol and all the sovereignty that America had in one day. So they had to have made conscious decision, had meetings, make the determination that they were going to use the weapon of illegal immigration to fundamentally transform the United States of America. And they are. To this date, in 5 months, we all project out Joe Biden will have allowed into America 30 million illegal aliens. 30 million. Right now it's not even disputed in the halls of Congress. There are 45 million illegal aliens inside of our walls. 45 million. And I could go
Now,
through that and tell you how I came to that number. It's not a I pulled out a rabbit out of the hat. This is 45 million. Tell me real quick what nation in the history of civilization overcame this demographic shift and survived? And the answer is none of them have.
no, no. I know recently I listened to Trump speak, and he said he was asked the question why he didn't place Hillary under arrest
Hmm.
when he had the opportunity. And he said, how would that have made him look as a president to place the wife of a former president behind bars? And by the way, justifiably so to do this. But I personally see what's happened, and I'm going to say this: Joe Biden, the White House administration, all of them, as well as the DHS Secretary Alexandra Mayorkas, they have created they've acted on what's called treason to this
Hmm.
country,
Yes.
and they should be held accountable. Why is our government not stepping up and saying it's time for accountability? And they've let this
Why?
go on for 5 years.
Well, why? You know the answer why, because they're all in complicit in it. You know that as well as I do. The reason why
But
nobody says anything or does anything is because they're all getting fat, rich, and powerful off of it. All of them are. All of them. Just to ask the same question, why are we sending $200 billion to Ukraine? Because they're all making money. They're all gaining power. We are no longer in a republic. We are in a post-constitutional republic. I'm not represented. I has anything been passed, anything been argued on the floor of the Senate that had anything to do that benefited my life in the last 4 years, in the last decade, 2 decades? Name me one. Now, I can sit here and I can enumerate ad nauseum how much money, time, effort, and strength we have given to foreign nationals in foreign countries to benefit them, all at the cost of our way of life. We did not elect these people to rule us and to give our money away, our time, talent, and treasure, but they have. And the reason why we are here is because the American man has become fat, lazy, and impotent, and we've allowed mental patients to take over our government and then force us into this insane world that we now find ourselves.
You're preaching to the choir on that one, by the way, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. But I would have thought that the Republicans that are in office would have been more forceful on the hand of these people, saying this is not the right way or the right direction for our country. I just spoke to a gun dealer, and he said his sales, he just started, by the way, 2 months ago. And he said every week his sales just go up and up. He can't keep ammunition. And this is a little town in Missouri. He can't keep ammunition. He can't keep guns. He can't make any. He can't keep his shelves pretty much stocked. Are we getting paranoid? Or are people really saying, guns for a revolution, self-protection, mind you, and survival kits in the event of a major food shortage and crisis?
I don't think it's short-sighted. I don't think it's paranoia. I think it's normal human beings have an innate ability by God to have a sense of fight or flight, to have a sense of right or wrong, to have a feeling that America is off center, and to know that the probability of a bad outcome gets greater and greater every day, every single day. There is no more law and order, even if there was a strong law and order. Okay. I tell this, I just had this conversation with my son, 13-year-old son. I said, listen, man, there's 330, 350 million people inside the United States of America live here. There are less than 660,000 law enforcement officers. 660 dropping by the day because people don't want to do this job. They leave, retire, and they can't hire anybody. I said, do you understand, son, that only 660,000 officers control the savages that want to rape and pillage America by the millions? Now, when you start to look at the demographics of America and look at the demographics of police officers, and you see the number, if you strip away both coastline, the states and cities, or the major cities, and you strip away their police force, you're looking at thousands of officers left for the United States of America. We are in a position where you better be able and ready to defend yourself, your property, and for your family, because nobody's coming for you. Let me give you an example. Okay. This is real life example happening right now as we speak. Aurora, Colorado. This is just one of 5 cities and states that the Venezuelan gangs have now taken over. Venezuelan gangs in Aurora. Aurora has 400,000 people living in it. Their police force, because it's such a gentle, kind, law-abiding society, community in Aurora, has 748 police officers. 748 police officers to keep safe 400,000 residents. You just had strong arm robberies in broad daylight. You've had taken over major apartment complexes, 99 units, kicking the doors in, demanding money, having long arms and firearms, then going into Target parking lots and then ransacking the parking lots and doing all kinds of dangerous stuff. Where are the cops? Where are they? They're gone. There's not enough of them. You're on your own, America. I hope you understand that. You have Haitians in Springfield, Ohio. 20,000 Haitians have now moved into a town that had 38,000 people. So now 1 in 3 person is an illegal alien Haitian. The Haitians are going from door to door, kidnapping and stealing cats and dogs, their pets, and cooking them and eating them. They are going door to door, going to ponds and local lakes right there, and they're taking the ducks, the domesticated ducks and geese, and killing them and walking down the street with them. There have so many violent car accidents now in Springfield, Ohio. The residents are afraid to drive because the Haitians don't know how to drive. They don't have driver's license. They have no idea how to read English, and they're running stop signs and crashing into other cars and into homes. America, you better be armed. You better know how to load a weapon. You better know how to pull that trigger. You better know how to articulate why you pulled that trigger, because the left, the crazy left, will come for you when that bullet leaves that chamber. Even if you're defending yourself, the left is going to come for you.
You're absolutely correct. I want to go just back again to Aurora. You're familiar with the complex, the complexes. I believe they were basically, they've got a landlord, this one in particular anyway, and the state governor and the mayor told him to stand down and let the Venezuelan gangs have their way. And the people are the American citizens legally living there are the ones that are really being victimized. And they've got no hope. And it's a city, by the way, that's not really gun friendly.
Nope.
Again, a democratic rule. And these people are horrified. And I literally just saw this not even 24 hours ago. It came across a feed that a friend of mine sent me.
Well, you know, a part of me really wants justice, and I want them eradicated. But there's another part of me that I want that city to experience what they demanded, meaning this is a sanctuary city and a sanctuary state. They called men like me and men like you racists, xenophobes, called us Nazis, other vile names, because we believe in the sovereignty of America, and we believe in demographics, and we believe in cultural norms and societal norms, and they called us vile names. Now they want our help. I saw a gentleman looked like he was a former military officer, and he gave a great talk on this. It was about a minute and a half on X. And he said, you people, meaning you sanctuary liberals, you demonized us. You took us, you made us get shots we didn't want. You made us lose our jobs if we didn't get the jab. Now you tell us that you want illegal aliens in your community. Now as you're being raped and pillaged and murdered, you are begging us to come help you. You're begging us. Now, what if I come help you? What if I engage some of these people and I have to shoot them and kill them? Then I will be put in jail by you, that people. Why would I subject myself to that? Whereas the vast majority of all my being wants you to suffer under what you begged for. And I feel like him. I feel like I want you to suffer under what you demanded, what you said to me was, you're a vile human being for wanting sovereignty and for wanting a secure border that's orderly. You call me vile names. Now I want you to eat everything that you told me, and I want to see it in real time. I'm watching them kick in your doors. I'm watching you cower like a little coward with your beta male husband cowering. I want you to wallow in your misery that you created while I protect what I have. And that's what we're getting to. I think more than ever. I talk to people like myself all the time, other men like me, and we are all saying the same thing. I got your back. You get my back. Let's not worry about anyone else. Let's just worry about each other. That sounds fair to me in this day and age.
You know, I agree with you 100%. I've got several people in my community. I say several, meaning actually 2 houses. I live in an HOA. It's an old boys club, absolutely vile. I'm so sad and sickened by the fact that I joined this HOA or bought this house attached with an HOA. I'm looking very soon, hopefully, to be able to move. I don't know what's going to happen in the long run in a year from now. But we have a pact amongst ourselves of, like you said, I'll have your back, you have mine. And we all have our own, I don't want to say expertise, but our own detail of what we are in charge of. And then when we go to bug out, where we're going to go. And we're going to go even further away from where civilization is as we know it. Because it's going to be the only safety you have, because it's going to be a handful of families on a nice big parcel of land, say 7, 8, maybe 10. And when something happens, we're going to have to take care of that mess ourselves. And we don't want to. None of us want to. I think I'm speaking for you as well. I don't think you really want to take the life of another human being, but if it's your life or their life, and they're coming at you with guns, knives, whatever, I've got to tell you, I'm going to take care of me, and I'm going to take care of and protect my family and friends around me. We're going to have to actually get to that realization.
I agree. And I think, listen, I understand how I sound. I understand how you sound. I'm not oblivious. If I go back in time and I'm looking 5 years into the future and I'm watching myself, I'm thinking, what the hell happened? Like, was there something, did I go crazy or did the world go crazy? And I know I'm not crazy. I know I'm a rational thinking human being. I'm just looking at this very objectively and very as a realist. I used to be a more of an optimist like my father. He is a better man than me. I'm now a stone cold realist. I just see things as they are, not what they should be or what I'm hoping it's going to be. I'm seeing it just as it is. You cannot bring in 50 million people into a nation and make 1 in 6, 1 in 7 residents an illegal alien in America. You can't. There's no way around it. You will fall. Either Donald Trump comes into office and eradicates the 50 million from our nation. Don't half-ass it, Donald Trump. Don't fall to your cabinet that tells you it's heartless and all that other crap. You go full go and you get them out of our country. Or we die a death of misery. Kamala Harris wins, it's over. It is absolutely over. She will bring in 4 years, she will double Joe Biden. It will be an absolute free-for-all, and there will be a full-blown amnesty. She's already said it out loud. There will be an amnesty for 50 million people. Now, let me explain something. Who is going to vet 50 million people? Who? You don't
correct.
Who's going to do it? No one's going to do it, so it's going to allow everyone in. I mean, let me just give you a quick snapshot of what amnesty looks like. Do you remember when we pulled out of Afghanistan and our 13 soldiers were obliterated from this planet on a suicide bomber because our government is complicit in evil and they're incompetent and a combination thereof? Well, we brought over 85,000 Afghanis, 85,000 Afghanis. Do you know that we didn't vet not single one of them? We didn't interview them. We didn't do anything. We just released them into America. I talked to an agent that was stationed in Philadelphia and had to run that port of entry. And he says people were coming off that plane in battle fatigues, getting processed, and then walking out the Philadelphia airport and with their phones and grabbing Ubers and taking off. We have no idea who they are. It's so bad. Let me tell you what it looked like in Philadelphia. Because a lot of these people from third world countries don't use first world calendars. They use some crazy voodoo calendars. So he said some guys were like 800 years old. So they had to give them brand new birth dates. 1/1, 1980, 1995, 2000. So we basically took people off the plane, gave them new IDs, meaning they told us what their name is, had no idea what their birth date is, and we gave them new birth dates. We took terrorists off a plane, gave them brand new identification, and then let them go into our country. That is what will happen with amnesty with 50 million people. And it's over. America, it's over. Because I want to just follow this up, Vincent, so your audience understands. This now is a math problem. It's nothing about race or ethnicity, or it's race. It's a math problem on demographics of citizens versus non-citizens. United States women are not reproducing at the replacement level. Illegal aliens reproduce at a 6-to-1 ratio. 2 to 6 times Americans. You're looking at one generation, and it is over. Over. We're a dying population. They will overtake us just on birth rates alone.
And you know, JJ, a lot of people don't know you, and as I do. And at the end of this program, folks, I've got a piece from JJ addressing the Lake Lotawana Sports Club at Lake Lotawana, Missouri. Your background, real quick, if you don't mind.
Sure.
24 years retired Border Patrol agent, correct?
Correct.
And you went into ultimately an administrative position near the end, naturally, correct?
Correct. I became a senior leader within. That was a natural progression for me, is to move up the ranks and get more authority and more responsibility.
So what we're talking about is firsthand knowledge, firsthand real life experiences that you've actually lived through, encountered, where you were. I want to use the phrase where you may have been stationed, and this has been going on for 3.5 years, hands down. It's under Trump's administration. We did not have, I believe it was like 80,000 encounters, 79 or 80,000 in the very last year, and monthly.
Yeah, what my perspective is unique because I'm not a talking head. I came into this reluctantly. I didn't want to write books about how bad this is. I didn't want to go do documentaries on child sex trafficking and the federal government creating an open border invasion to destroy America. I have no joy in taking this, but what I'm telling you is factually true. It's all based on what they have said and what they have done, and it's based on 24 years experience of knowing what and how DHS moves, acts, their words, their verbiage, their vernacular, and watch them completely destroy every immigration policy and law to fundamentally transform America. So I am not removed from this world. I am still down in the border. I still have contacts with everyone that used to be my coworkers, people that work for me, my subordinates. I spent my last year of my career under Joe Biden. I could not take it anymore. There's no way I could have withstood the next 3 years of following unconstitutional orders and committing treason myself against the United States of America. Because when I took my oath, it was to defend the United States of America. And it was to never, ever follow unconstitutional orders. And everything that is happening in the Border Patrol is doing right now is unconstitutional. Let me give you one example. In the Immigration Nationality Act, it's called the INA. That is the Bible of immigration law in America. It is illegal to release illegal aliens into America. In my whole career, directly, indirectly, all my buddies making arrests. So I saw at least 100,000 people be arrested on the border in 24 years. At least 100,000. Do you know how many people I released in 24 years from arresting on the border? 0. Why? Because it's against the law. I would have been investigated, and I would have been interrogated by OIG and asked, JJ, you need to explain the best way you can articulately why you released an illegal alien into America, which is against the law on the INA. And I would never be able to articulate that properly, except to say I was corrupt. I did it to get payment. And that is what's happening today in America, in the United States Border Patrol. The United States Border Patrol has become the smuggling arm of the cartels. There's no way around it.
And they are technically, if I'm not mistaken, there's no other way of saying it, but aren't they almost working hand in hand with the cartels?
Well, when you're on the border and you work it, you understand that the cartels own everything on the south side. And the cartels make the determination of who, where, and what crosses the border, and how many, and from what kind. No one crosses the border unless the cartels bless it. No one, because every inch of the border is owned by someone. So the United States government immigration service, the law enforcement arm of it, is being controlled by the cartels. The cartels move bodies like a chess piece across the border, and the Border Patrol has to respond. What has happened? Let me give you an example of how the cartels now run everything. So in my new documentary, comes out Friday, called What is Treason Trafficked, all about child sex trafficking. Because Joe Biden has removed the United States Border Patrol from all enforcement duties on the border, 80% of the border is completely unmanned, meaning 1,600 miles, they are completely unprotected. The cartels can move product and people however they want, because Border Patrol no longer takes children and people and deports them. The cartel has decided that they found a loophole in the sponsorship program. So what a cartel member will do after someone in South or Central America sells or rents their child, if you can believe that happens, it does, by the tens of thousands, the cartel will systematically rape the child all the way up to his journey to the United States of America. And before the cartel member forces him to cross or her to cross the border, they will staple a note card to their chest, to their shirt. And on that note card is the child, the address, the phone number, and name of the sponsor. The Border Patrol will take the child, process it, and get it out of its facility as quick as it can per the floor's agreement, and turn that child or children over to the NGOs, Catholic Charities, Jewish Family Services, and then that service, that NGO, will then call the number on the child's chest and simply ask, "Are you waiting for a child named so-and-so?" "Yes, I am." "Okay, we will get you that child immediately." And who is on the other side of that phone? Cartels. So we're allowing the cartels to traffic children into America. This has already been proven. You'll see it in my documentary. They fired the the DHS whistleblower that blew the whistle and said, the cartels are moving bodies. Here it is. Here's the evidence. It's plain as day. Here's the evidence. Oh, you're fired. And the cartels traffic children using the federal government, and we, the American people, are funding all of it.
Right now it's incomprehensible. But one, you and I, have you ever heard the name Mike Miller?
No, I am sorry, I don't.
Mike Miller is from Texas. He had property down there. I believe he still does. He even had a regular type thing going on podcasting wise, asking for donation of the ranchers. How are the ranchers along the border? How are they being affected, if at all? But I do know that they're being affected. Do you know any firsthand accounts about those individuals?
Well, those individuals are completely on their own. I want you to think about, and I wrote about this in my book, Invaded, and I talked about the enormous amounts of trash. Let's not talk about the violence and the child sex trafficking, the degradation and the killings and all that, okay? Let's just talk about it from an environmental perspective. I want you to imagine you live down the street from a high school, and every Friday night in Texas, they have this giant football game. And they have 20,000 people. If you can imagine, 20,000 people go see high school players play. And the game ends on Friday night. Every Friday night, the game ends. And all 20,000 people walk down your neighborhood street, and they push up and they walk on your yard. They defecate on your yard. They urinate. They shoot up their drugs. They leave dead bodies there. They throw bottles against your house. Your lights are shattered. Your cars are vandalized. And you wake up Saturday morning, and every Saturday morning, looks like the end times, and you have to repair your yard. And you have to clean up all the feces, and you have to remove the dead bodies. That's what's happening on our borders to our ranchers. Where are their rights? When you go down to
I've seen film footage where they are trashing state and national parks. I mean, where people used to be able to maybe camp and hike.
No.
They've got literally litter. Again, you name it. They're just trashing the state parks. Don Corleone wrote this. Do you believe the government allows a certain influx of invasions to distract us from other things, or even for political poll advancement?
Yes, absolutely. Let's take that for example. Let me give you an example. Every illegal alien that crosses the border and gets into NGO custody, they are registered to vote.
And of course, they're going to vote Democrat.
Correct. But see, this is where it gets insidious. So if you register to vote for NGO, and I have you in a hotel, and you've been living in that hotel for 6 months, and then we move you, that absentee ballot does not go with you. Those illegal aliens are not put in a change of address. So those tens of thousands, those millions of mail-in ballots are going to end up in places across America where the left, the evil left, can determine where they're going to move those ballots. And they will upset the election, because we're looking at millions and millions of illegal alien ballots being sent out. That's what's happening. And when you look at the number, one of your audience asked, well, what type of, are they just picking certain people? Yes. You look at the Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuelan, it's called the CHNV program. And they're flying these people in by 40, 50,000 a month. 40 to 50,000 a month flying in under the CBP1 app. And they're flying them in, keep them off the books, and just releasing them into America. Just releasing them into America. I want your audience to understand, when DHS says we've arrested 12 million people, that means they have released 12 million people. Nobody's getting deported. If they're deporting, it's about a 3% rate. And when they deport them, which is mainly all Mexican nationals being deported, they just cross the border through one of the open holes in the border. So everyone that wants to come to America can come to America. You have ripped your front door off its hinges. You have ripped down your garage doors. You have taken your back door and ripped it off its hinges. You've knocked out all your windows and window panes, and you have left your house completely open and vulnerable. That's what our government has done to us. But they have done it successfully, meaning this is not bad policy. This is not happenstance. This is not egregious neglect or incompetence. This is people that wanted to do it now have done it. They're winning. They have done what they set out to do. This is not even an argument. This isn't like, well, I don't know, JJ. No. Okay. I always do this toward the end of an interview. I always ask this very simple question. Everything that I have said to you today for the hour or 2 hour, how long I'm interviewed, it is factually true. You know it's true, because all you have to do is go on your computer and type in stuff as I speak, and it will be proven that what I'm saying is true. You don't have to like my shirt, the way I do my hair. You don't have to like anything, but you agree that my data is honest and forthright. It comes straight from CBP and DHS and Department of Labor and on and on and on. It's there. So yes, you agree with it, but you don't agree with my conclusion. My conclusion is the federal government did this on purpose to destroy the United States of America and brought 30 million people in. You don't like the conclusion, so why don't you tell me what the hell is going on? And do you know what they all say? Nothing. Silence. Because there is no explanation other than what I just gave as to why this is happening to the United States of America.
You're absolutely correct. In a very short while, I can't wait, obviously, to watch this debate. that's going to be happening tonight with Trump and Kamala. But Kamala has had like one interview, 9 minutes of talking, 7 to 9 minutes of talking, silence outside of that. And Trump, of course, has been out there, been out there, been out there. I've lost so many friendships because they're voting. They hate Trump for whatever reason that they've been brainwashed into not thinking about. I just had a friend of mine last night that said, I will not vote for Trump under any circumstance. I've got to vote Democrat. And I'm like, why? Why? They're not talking policy. I'm talking about Kamala Harris and Waltz right now. They're not talking policy.
No.
And they're not, and really none of the figureheads of politics, politicians are coming out saying, this is why we need this. Now, you did say earlier you had 50 million. It was my knowledge it was about 25. And I'm saying about 18 that we know of, and maybe another 6 to 7 gotaways. But you're saying 50 million people.
Yeah, will you give me a minute? I will
Sure.
tell you in 60 seconds how this came about. In
Yes, sir.
2019, Yale and MIT did a demographic study that everyone agreed was the gold standard, and they pushed in all of this demographic data into an algorithm. They ran the algorithm 1 million times, and the algorithm kept coming back with a high of 29 million and the mean, meaning the average, of 22 million. Everyone in government admitted, okay, it's 22 million. I knew that was a lie, but let's just go with it, okay? 22 million in 2019. Biden hasn't come in even office. If you just follow his numbers, not mine, let's just add it up. 22 million, everyone agrees to it. 2019. Joe Biden comes in office, and in 4 years, he arrests and releases 12 million. Now we're at 34 million. He has flown in illegally. Literally, American planes have gone down to foreign countries, loaded up the planes, and flown them into America to over 1 million times. Now we're at 35 million. The federal government admits to losing minimum 3 million getaways. And I think we laugh. Everyone in the government, in law enforcement, laughs at that number. Let's just play it. That's 38 million. 38 million. I'm off by 12 million. Are you going to believe Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, the left, Speaker Johnson? Or are you going to believe someone that was down there and knows exactly what's going on, that knows the numbers, has talked to everyone, seen everything that's happened, knows how they segment and lie about the numbers on CVP? Or are you going to believe those jackasses? That's your choice. But let's just say that I'm 100% wrong and it's all DHS is correct. It's still 38 million people. We're arguing about 38 to 50 million. I'm telling you 50 million is still a little bit conservative. But let's just play it. So you want to split hairs? So let's meet halfway. Let's take 6 million off mine and add 6 million to yours. So now we're at 44 million. Are you okay with that? Hell, are you okay with 22 million from the MIT Yale study? Let's even go further. Are you okay with 10 million? 10 million? Do you know right now that over 5 million illegal aliens have gone through the immigration courts, been found inadmissible, meaning deported, ordered deported, 5 million, they refuse to leave, refuse to follow the law and leave. Do you know that it's over 4 million asylum cases pending? Do you know how many asylum officers there are to adjudicate 4 million cases? You won't believe this. In all of America, there are 900 asylum officers.
You're talking 900 asylum officers to adjudicate
4 million cases.
People.
And it's growing every single day. Yep, that's what I'm saying.
And see, there's a gentleman I've been working with out of Canada, and I have to tell you, he's a remarkable man. I'll give you that information contact later, of course. And he believes in advocates. We need more advocates to help this process to expedite.
Why? Why do we need to? Why do we?
To get them out? In other words, we know
Oh.
they're here illegally, so we need to get, quote, advocates in there to say, you know what, this person doesn't belong here, period.
Well, the way
They don't speak.
yeah, but the way you do that, you have to restructure the whole immigration process. The everything has to change. Meaning, I want all of the immigration judges. I want them all detailed down to the border. We're going to set up we already have the tents. We have detention facilities, everything. I want those people brought down there. I want them deported immediately, run through the system, put in the system, deport. I want them gone. I want them all out of here. And the only way this is going to happen, and I don't know if Donald Trump has the stones to do it, to be honest with you. The only way that this is going to happen is if the sheriffs deputize 10, 20, 100,000 men like me that have been in law enforcement and military, and we go and find them and eradicate our nation of these people. That's it. And I do know the person that Donald Trump is going to put into effect. I don't know him personally, but I'm a fan of his, and I have watched him. His name is Tom Homan. He is a strong man that does not play games, does not mince words, does not parse his words. He just says it like the truth it is on the street. And he will eradicate our nation of these people. He will.
Yes. And I agree with you. Tom Holman, wasn't he on the last, wasn't he with Trump in the last administration?
He was acting ICE director, and he was deporting tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people a year. Do you know that this is something, because people don't know this. Prior to President Trump and now after, nations across the globe would never take back their rapists, murderers, and drug dealers and pedophiles. They refused to allow us to deport them. So what our federal government would do is release them onto our streets. Can you believe that? That's what our federal government would do. Donald Trump came in and said, no. And then all the government said, no, you can't do that. And he said, okay, well, all of your foreign aid has just stopped. And all of these third world cesspool countries need our money to survive. So they all said, okay, sir, we'll do anything you want. And I knew the deportation officers and ICE officers, and they would take these trips. They called 21-day trips. It's 21 days it took them to go around the world. And they would load up planes and then fly them and deport all of these savages back into those third world hellholes. They're not our problem. They're not our responsibility. And we need to talk in these terms, in these bold ways that you and I are talking right now, because the days of trying not to hurt someone's feelings, the days of trying to be more kind and compassionate, those days have long gone. We have people that are evil that are running our government. We have people that are mental patients. We have transgender, we have men wearing women's clothes, thinking they're women, running large segments of our government.
Rachel Levine.
Yes, Rachel Levine. 5 years ago, she would be thought as a mental patient that would need strong psychiatric care. But now we champion them and applaud and say, look how wonderful that man in a dress is. Isn't she beautiful? Isn't diversity great? And I'm telling you, no, it's not. Diversity is not a strength. That is a bold-faced lie that we have been told. It's a bumper sticker on a hippie car and down eating granola in Colorado and California. Diversity is not a strength. What makes you strong is people that have like minds, like beliefs, same morals, same cultural norms, same societal norms, believe in allegiance to a flag. That is what makes you strong. What makes you weak is multiple languages, multiple cultures, no trusting each other, believing that certain groups get more than other groups. That's how you destroy a nation. Does that sound like a nation that we are living in today? Yes, it does. We are a balkanized community.
Yep. Ruth here made a good point. My friend has a new business. It's a food service. She filled out the grant to enlarge and improve her business. She was turned down. She has to have illegals working there. when is it going to stop? Now it's almost as if the illegals are, for lack of better terms, running and conducting our businesses. Because I see with the meat factory plants over in St. Joe, Missouri, we've got all this, and I've got nothing against groups of people at all, but they don't speak English. They work for lower wages, and we don't know the safety protocol and so on and so forth. And we have Smithfields is another here in Missouri. Again, they've got a large volume of people that do not speak English at all. And they actually have to have management, upper management, taking classes of Espanol to deal with them. I mean, we are purposely, the elites are purposely destroying America.
Yeah.
And we're going to have, this is only, I'm going to say it like this. This is just the beginning of an end.
I agree with that. I think we're even farther than the beginning, because when you look at, okay, let's take this as an example. Okay. I have this discussion all the time. We are fighting tooth and nail to get back to normal. Okay. Normal 2 to 3 years ago were men are men and women are women. Now we are told that men can have babies, that young boys in 4th grade need tampon machines in their bathroom. So in order to get back and fight with blood, sweat, and tears, we have to get back to what is considered normal. And we're not fighting to become great. We're fighting to be average, like an average thinking Neanderthal, not a very intelligent, critical thinking human. That's how far we have gone. So when you ask, is there a way that we're going to come out of this? I'll be honest, man. I really don't know. And everyone tries to put all their eggs in the basket that Donald Trump's going to do it. I am the biggest Donald Trump fan. MAGA, America first, all the time, all day. But he is not Jesus Christ. Meaning, when that man comes in and he puts his body between us and the left, we have got to pick up our shields and fight. And I mean fight. Because if you think for a second, if Donald Trump wins, that they are not going to go like a pack of hyenas and try to destroy him, you are a fool. You think that's the last time that he's going to be tried to be assassinated? You honestly believe that? And when you look at Donald Trump and you look at the January 6ers and you see them, that is us. They are us. They don't hate Donald Trump because they hate Donald Trump. They hate Donald Trump because he represents what we believe.
Yes,
We are
sir.
a bunch of rednecks, low-life scum that believe in patriotic, baseball, apple pie. We're a bunch of know-nothings to them. That's how they think of us. We have got to take our country back. What does that look like? I don't know, but we have to. And I think it begins by having conversations like this, but also having the ability to do something physical about it. There is no way this gets better without a physical confrontation. It's not. Donald Trump wins, it's going to be a bloodbath in the street. You think Antifa and Black Lives Matter and the Democrats are going to just go back in their homes and accept it? No. Do you think if Kamala Harris wins, the only way that Kamala Harris wins if there is egregious, absolutely egregious, in-your-face theft of the election? That will embolden the left to take our guns, give us amnesty, put us in jail, and then we're going to have blood in the streets. So my point that I want to push across in my last few minutes here is you better get ready, because this is going to get ugly. It's not going to get better before you think. It's going to get worse and worse and worse before it gets better.
And I got your back on that 100%. Usually I can say 99.9, but I'm going to say 100%. It's going to be anarchy. It's going to be chaos. When Trump, and I'm going to say it, when Trump is elected, if it goes the way it seems to go, when he's elected, all hell's going to break loose in these large democratically ran cities.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for the black personally. I feel sorry for the black communities because it does seem as though a bulk of these larger cities. I think you and I think I had heard you say something about like MS-13 South Chicago. Police don't even go down there.
No.
They can't. I mean, they don't have the resources to protect themselves, so they've let them take over. You've got L.A., you've got San Francisco, Portland, Seattle, Philadelphia is just becoming, and that's where I was born and raised. It's a cesspool, in my opinion.
It is. But you know what did all those places that you just stated, what do they all have in common? They are
Democratic leadership.
Correct. And they're also in the outside of America. They're on the fringe of America, like physically on the fringe of America. So but I warn you, everything that's happening in those major cities, it's coming to you. It's into middle America already. How deep into middle America, I don't know yet, but it's bleeding into the neighboring states. You're seeing Ohio's being,
Off topic just for a moment, sir. I'll tell you how bad it's bleeding into middle America. About 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, when I started podcasting, I started learning about our educational system, and I started learning about the pornographic books of sexual content in the books. And I said to myself, no way can this be happening where I live, which is Cameron, Missouri. Okay. Population 9,000, maybe 12,000. I said, no way. Well, we have found over 200 books that are highly contestable to be in the library, and they're pushing it and stuffing it. So when people say, and I did for a moment, I'm like, this can't be happening to us. I agree with you. I actually met a Marine not long ago indirectly. I have a very brash, brazen way about me. Yeah, I think you experience that. Just walk up to you, I'm in your face. And so on this guy on Facebook in particular, I found out that he was from the Ivory Coast. I found out that he speaks French very eloquently, and I love his speech, his accent. But he was a Marine, and he's a Democrat. And he actually threatened me for a moment. I mean, he did. He threatened me, saying, give me your address. I'll come up and cap you, more or less. And I'm thinking to myself, why would you make this 12, 14-hour trip just to come after a piece of, an individual like me and nobody? But the reality is, there are nutcases out there that are going to just blatantly get in carloads, and they're going to come out to us, and they're going to get into those communities, and they're going to create so much havoc. No one's going to know what the heck to do. Although I think you have it right, and I think you nailed it when you said that the sheriffs, hopefully they're good sheriffs, the sheriffs are going to have to deputize the former patriots, veterans, men that hunt, men that know the law, men of God and faith, men that hold values to their families. They're going to have to deputize these men, because they're not a police force of, say, 80 people. I'm going to say, and I don't know what we have in Cameron. I'm just throwing a number out there. If it's 80, I'd really be shocked. They're not going to be able to handle it.
No,
they're not going to be able to handle it.
Because these illegal aliens come from third world nations where the weapon of choice is a machete or rape, and they don't value life like we do. The lie that our country, our education system, our religions have told us for decades that we are all the same. We're all the same. That's a lie. That's not true. Anybody with half a brain cell could look outside of America and say, well, is India the same? Is China the same? Wait a minute. India and China, they've been in existence for what, 5,000 years? They have large swaths of their communities don't have running water or electricity. What? America has been in existence for what, 100, 250 years? And we are the best in the world, the most advanced? Wait a minute. We must be a little different. This is just common sense. And then to say, well, the Haitians are just like us. Oh, okay. The Venezuelans are just like us. Everyone from the continent of Africa and the Middle East are just like us. No, they're not. No, they're not. Diversity is strength. No, it's not. The Statue of Liberty says, bring our poor. I don't care what the Statue of Liberty says. The Constitution trumps a statute from the weak and impotent French. Okay? America has to stand up, and the American man has to be in the forefront of that, because the American man has remained silent and complicit in all of this because they have been cowards in the face of adversity. And that's the truth.
JJ, thank you for this time. In closing, folks, don't go anywhere. I've got, like I said, a wonderful, I believe it's about 45 minutes with you. And JJ didn't even begin to tell you some of the stuff I heard. And by the way, refreshing, thank you, new stuff. You're never going to believe what this gentleman told us at the sports club. JJ, in closing, what would you like to say, sir?
I think that you have to get involved. I believe that the days of sitting on the sideline are over. I don't believe you can either sit this out. I believe the weak will get picked up first, the low-hanging fruit, and I believe that you have to be involved. This is your country. You cannot sit back and allow people to invade it and take it from you. And if you do, then you don't deserve this country. We all don't. Because the United States of America may remain the United States of America by name, but it will no longer be the United States of America. You have to get involved. You have to run for city council. You have to run for mayor. You have to go to the school board. You have to, at the minimum, know what the heck's going on in your community and demand change. And if you don't like it, then if you don't run, find somebody that believes in your values about America first, and then campaign for them. Make them get into that position and then hold them accountable. That's the only way we change things. The president, the Senate, the Congress, that's been ruined. But we can control our counties and our cities, and we control counties and cities, then we can control our state. Then maybe we cobble together a few states that demand our states' rights and ignores the federal government and stands their ground. That's the only way you take your country back. Or you go into a full-blown violent civil war, and America will never be the same. Never.
Never be the same.
No.
Yeah, it would be something so. It's almost. I mean, the only thing I can think of relating it to is just a small 2-hour film called The Purge.
Yeah.
And saw what that purge was like.
Yeah.
And personally myself, sir, several months ago, I really had hoped. I was talking with the Constitution Party. I really wanted to be governor. And I will tell you, the first thing I wanted to do, one of the first things was hold those oath of office, get rid of them. If they're not doing their jobs, get rid of them, fire them. The second thing was, of course, back the blue. Now, don't get me wrong. We've got some bad police as well. So we've got to get through and weed them out. And the county commissioners have to step up with the sheriffs and work with the sheriffs in deputizing, in this case, if all hell breaks loose, of helping the sheriffs vet and deputize people.
Yeah.
And get the federal government out of our taxes here in Missouri. It's only 6-7% anyway. Tell the federal government to keep their money for their education. We don't need it.
Yeah.
And the thing, of course, is to really use our own state tax dollars to help the people. And I had a whole other bunch of other things that I would like to have implemented. But the bottom line is, it's exactly like what you just said. We have got to get more involved. Sir, with your blessing, I hope you'll allow me to take this podcast. And I'm almost at a point where I like to start rerunning.
Yeah, you take whatever you need from me and you use it. Okay.
Thank you very much. And I know it took 4 names, but I know that Doc Pete, Lieutenant Colonel Pete Chambers, MD, was on my program about 2 years ago, a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah, great guy.
And I believe that that's kind of the name that kind of, and I'm going to say it like this, kind of put a bug in your ear saying, this guy's okay. And I appreciate you. God bless you for allowing me to have you on here, sir.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Thank you very much. I'm sure we'll be talking shortly.
Yes, sir. And
all right.
I will keep in touch with you. Thank you.
All right,
God
sir.
bless.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye. Folks, don't go anywhere. And yes, thank you. Thank you. I've got a piece I'm going to be sharing now. This is JJ again. The stories that are on this piece are incredible. You are not going to believe what I am going to actually be placing on here. So give me a moment and rest assured you're going to learn a tremendous amount more. I assure you. So I'm sharing this right now, and I'm going to get out of the screen eventually, but just please stay with me. Thank you. Stay with me. And it's buffering. It is buffering. I'm trying to get it all up to gosh, I wish I had my producer here. I miss him so very much. Short, but here we go. Coming back on, and oh, I'm sorry. Let me do this again. Can't believe this. Oh, I'm just so nervous. Share a screen. Let's get up here. Come here. Share it, and it's well worth it. I assure you it's well worth it.
On October 22nd. These documentaries will expose the traitors that run our government, the evil of child sex trafficking, and the peril of the United States of America finds itself in that. Carrell is unapologetically patriotic and believes in the greatness of America and her citizens. However, he is unafraid to point out the corruption and deception that is ruling the decisions made about our border, illegal immigration, and the weakening of our American sovereignty. Thank you very much. Oh, wait a minute. Storm's got something to say.
This book is a must read. $15. Angie back there, I'll probably be back there too selling it. $15 for Venmo or cash. You have to pick it up. It is a must read. You are not even hearing half of what's going on, even on Newsmax or One American News. We're not hearing everything. Seriously, pick it up. Anyway, we're so happy to have invited him. So with that, I guess.
Thank you so much. JJ Carrell, thank you very much.
Okay.
I'm excited to speak to you tonight because I believe that we have the greatest threat against our republic right now. It's not China, it's not Russia. It's 30 million illegal aliens poured into our nation in the last 4 years. After 24 years, the United States Border Patrol, from a journeyman agent down in Tijuana border, running task forces and going up to senior leadership, retiring in Joe Biden's first year in his office, my last year in the Border Patrol. Took a year off, did research to write my book. The last 5 months I've been crisscrossing America, filming my first of 2 documentaries coming out. After everything that I've experienced during that time, I say with you without hesitation and with sadness, but with knowledge, that the United States federal government is the enemy of the people. That is a bold allegation, I know, and I know words have meaning, but I don't step back from that at all. What is my evidence? The evidence is all around us, but my evidence was in January 2021, because I was on that border. I was a senior leader in the United States Border Patrol in San Diego sector. Prior to Joe Biden taking office, the federal government met in meetings to make a decision to use the vehicle of illegal immigration to be the weapon to destroy and fundamentally transform the United States of America. How do I know that? Was I in those meetings? No, I wasn't. Did I talk to somebody that was in those meetings? No, but I was on the border, and I watched, as a senior leader, I watched all of the policies cascade down into my computer and I had to enforce them. What were they? In day one of Joe Biden's presidency, day one, not day 1,000, he signed 94 executive orders obliterating the most secure border in the history of the United States of America. In the first year, he will sign 296 executive orders, laying the foundation for what we're living through today.
He's a traitor.
He is a traitor. I agree with that 100%. I lived it. But let me make sure everybody understands too. This is not a Democrat problem. This is a uniparty issue. We sent $4 trillion to the Middle East to secure their nations. $200 billion to Ukraine. Israel gets it by the tens of billions of dollars. And I sat on the border where we couldn't get $5 billion to build our wall. I saw Border Patrol agents get their heads caved in by bricks. I've seen agents get shot at. I've seen agents kill themselves on the border because they felt so betrayed. We have an epidemic of suicide in the United States Border Patrol. I have broken bones, torn ligaments, caved my head in, chasing illegal aliens, and I know without a shadow of a doubt, everything I did and everything my partners did and all those warriors on the border is for naught, because they're all here in America because of Joe Biden and the Republicans. So I'm going to look at my watch, make sure I don't go over. This problem is so huge that I don't think anyone truly understands. Let me try to put this in context. Right now, as we speak, it's not disputed in the halls of Congress. The media does not even push back on it. There are between 45 million and 50 million illegal aliens inside the United States of America. I could break that down for you real quick because I hate to say things that are so huge without evidence. In 2019, MIT and Yale did a study, and they pushed all this demographic data into an algorithm. They ran the algorithm 1 million times, and the algorithm spit out the high number of 29 million illegal aliens, and the mean is 22 million. Everyone agreed. Everyone said, yeah, it's 22. I knew it was higher, but we just said, let's just stay at 22 million. So how did we get to 50 million from 2019 to now? Well, I'm going to go through those numbers because there's three aspects of that I want to talk to you about. And the first one is, what is the true number? Who are in those numbers? What countries are they coming from? And why is our government allowing this to happen? First, so everybody understands, 80% of the border is unmanned at any given time, meaning 1,600 miles of the 2,000 southern borders, not one Border Patrol agent standing there, not one. We have never done that in the history, the 100-year history of the United States Border Patrol. Never, never, never. The northern border, 5,400 miles of the northern border, you have less than 1,500 agents guarding that. Let me give you an example of how wide open the border is. Swanton sector, up in the northeast corner, Maine, Vermont, New York. In the month of June, they arrested more people in 1 month of June than they did the last 13 years combined. 85 nations were reported in the arrest data in the United States Border Patrol in Swanton sector. 180 nations out of 195 nations on planet Earth have been arrested in Border Patrol arrest data to this day. The whole world's coming. When you have an open border of 1,600 miles, you are going to have, and it has been recorded, and everybody in my business, everyone that has done this job knows that the number of people that cross the border and absconded is between 15 and 18 million. Joe Biden, by his own admission through the DHS and CBP, admits to 12 million arrests. They have also flown in illegally almost 2 million people, meaning our federal government reached down into foreign nations across the globe and put them on flights and flew them into international airports and released them. And here's the kicker. They didn't even count them in arrest data. They don't exist. Let's look at that number, 12 million, because this is their data. Who's coming into our country? 60 to 70% of the 12 million are single adult military age men. Of the women and children, between 60 and 80% have already been raped or sexually assaulted, making their journey before they cross the border. Of the 12 million, you have over 1 million Venezuelans, you have 500,000 Haitians, you have over 200,000 Chinese nationals, over 250,000 Russians. You have 250,000 special interest aliens. Do you know what those are? In layman's terms, those are called terrorists. And they were all released. And that's what we know about. Do you know how many people that were on the terrorist watch list in my whole career, directly, indirectly running large task forces, running stations? I arrested directly or indirectly, meaning all of my guys, probably 100,000 people. Do you know how many special interest aliens that I was involved in 24 years and 100,000 people? Five. Maybe 5,000 in the total United States Border Patrol at that time. 250,000 terrorists have been arrested and released into your country. That's not hyperbole. That is the bottom line. That's the minimum we're talking about. You can add another 250,000 of that. As I tell my 13-year-old son, as we're talking about this, I say, Joseph, do you think that the United States of America has vetted 8.2 billion people on planet Earth and then created a terrorist watch list? And we know every terrorist that's on that watch list? And of course, he's 13 years old. He goes, that's absurd, Dad. I said, that's right, son. That's the terrorist watch list is absurd. That's who we know. Inside the 12 million, 500,000 unaccompanied alien children. Babies, the 17-year-old, have been brought into America and lost. They can't find them. Who's doing this? Joe Biden on the left. Who's the man driving it? His name is Alejandro Mayorkas. He is a Cuban national, naturalized citizen, and he is the secretary of DHS. He is a traitor.
Yes.
I write that in my book, and I dedicated a whole chapter to it. He is a traitor, and I will not back down from that. What does this look like in real time? What does it look like in our major cities and small towns? There's two parts of the societal chaos. The first part is the social benefit destruction, meaning the total raping of all of our welfare systems. Let me give you an example. New York City, 2025 coming up, their budget, they are already projected to be in a deficit of $5.5 billion. One city, 5.5 billion. 2023, New York State was $12.5 billion in the red. 2024 numbers obviously have not come out yet. There is one hotel in New York City called the Row Hotel. It holds 5,000 illegal aliens. It cost the city of New York $1 billion to run one hotel. One. Chicago has spent $3.5 billion on illegal alien Venezuelans. I just sitting back there making sure my notes are correct. They have now started taking over South Beach in Chicago. Venezuelan gangs taking them over completely. We talk about narcotics. I went to Philadelphia. Why in God's name would I go to Philadelphia to go look for illegal aliens? Well, I have to go there because on Kensington neighborhood, think of one square block of hell. And in Kensington neighborhood is the open air drug den of Philadelphia. I went there because 95% of all hard narcotics in that neighborhood comes from the Sinaloa drug cartel, the same cartel that I would arrest on the border and the coastline. 95% cocaine, heroin, fentanyl, et cetera, et cetera. It's like being on a movie set of Night of the Living Dead. People are zombies. I'm not talking tens or hundreds, I'm talking thousands of people roaming around with flesh-eating diseases, having their arms and legs amputated because their blood can't go from their lower extremities up because the fentanyl and the tranq won't let it circulate. So they amputate their arms and their legs, and they allow them to die there on the street. This is the America that we have allowed to happen.
Why don't we stop it?
Well, we're going to talk about that, but we're not even, ma'am, I'm sorry, we're not even at 1% of what is happening right now. Crime is the other part of the societal chaos. What does that look like in real time? Right now, Aurora, Colorado has 400,000 residents, and the Venezuelan gangs are taking over apartment complexes, doing broad daylight, strong arm robberies. It's happening across America, not just Aurora. What does it look like? You say, well, it can't happen here on Lee Summit. It can't happen in small town Missouri or where I was from in California or where I grew up in the deep South in Arkansas and Alabama. No, it's happening. I'm going to give you 2 examples. Whitewater, Wisconsin. It is an hour and a half from Chicago. They bust. Biden put in 1,200 nationals from Venezuela and Nicaragua in a town called Whitewater, Wisconsin, 15,000 residents. I talked to the chief of police and he says, we cannot control anything anymore. We have crimes we never knew existed. They never existed. Rape, murder, child rape, kidnapping, prostitution, drunk driving at epidemic levels. Then we go to Springfield, Ohio. I didn't even know. I feel like I'm an educated man. I had no idea there was a place called Springfield, Ohio. 5 years ago, less than 5 years ago, had about 38,000 people live in Springfield, Ohio. In less than 5 years, they jumped to 58,000 residents. America does not even replace their own children. We're past the replacement rate in births. So where did the 20,000 come from? You know, over 20,000 Haitians, illegal alien Haitians, are now in Springfield, Ohio. So their city's over. Their mayor, their city council, their city manager are begging for mercy. They're not going to get any. I'm going to tell you how this works. Once they get a foothold in your community, then they're going to take over. You don't think that's going to happen? Anybody know about Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Ilhan Omar? How did she get there? Because all the Somalis moved in there and they voted in their own kind. Okay? This is happening across America. Those are just 2 of endless that I can go over. It should scare you to death because I'm telling you, 1 in 6 to 1 in 7 residents in the United States of America is an illegal alien. And if you think that 50 million people are going to hide and stay in major cities, you are a fool. They are going to find their way to your community and they're going to take it over. The third aspect that I want to talk about, and I don't have a lot of time, but I'm going to dive right into it, and it's going to make you uncomfortable, and you are going to squirm a little bit, and I'm going to just going to tell you, and I know it's going to sound harsh, I just don't care if it makes you uncomfortable, and that is child sex trafficking and human trafficking in the United States of America. Because I'm telling you right now, as you feel uncomfortable and you start to feel, oh God, he's going to talk about children being raped, little babies, boys being tied down to mattresses in their basements and being raped 5, 10, 15, 20 times a day. You're not going to like it. But I'm telling you now, how uncomfortable you're sitting in a nice air-conditioned room and you're a little uncomfortable. I'm telling you, by statistical probability, there are tens of thousands, if not 100, 200,000 children that are being raped right now as we speak. So their destruction of their little bodies trumps anybody's feelings here today. What am I talking about? They are called unaccompanied alien children, UACs, in Border Patrol lingo. They range from babies, like babies, a month old, to 17 years old. 500,000 have crossed our border and have been released to sponsors in America. 2023, Javier Becerra, Secretary of HHS, who oversees all this, think of Child Protective Services on a federal level. He admitted in Congress that he lost 85,000 children. 85,000. I knew it was a lie, but we just went with it. 85,000. He changed nothing. In fact, he threatened Miss Marcos, it's a long title, but she's over Office of Refugee Resettlement, their task in HHS of moving these children. And in his email that they got from FOIA is, if you don't begin to move these children faster, I'll find someone else to do your job. Fast forward to last week, Inspector General of the DHS came out and said, well, that 85,000 number, that's a little wrong. We're at 325,000. Inspector General, which is like the it's the internal affairs of big departments in law enforcement. We have OIG and Border Patrol. They look for all kinds of bad things that you do. 325,000. I'm I'm telling you, the number is closer to 450 to 500,000. They have normalized you to 85,000. They normalized you to 325,000. In 8 months or so, they're going to tell you, well, it's actually over 400,000. Let me tell you who I interviewed on my journey across America. And my documentary is coming out on September 13th called Treason Trafficked. And it's all about the child sex trafficking, because my business partner in the documentary and I actually were going to do one documentary called Invaded. And we went across America, and about two days into, or three trips into our 4 to 5 month journey of filming this, we all knew, we looked at each other and we went, oh my God, the child sex trafficking has dominated. It's everything about this documentary. And we prayed about it, and we said, hey, this is my plan, God. If you allow me to sell enough of Invaded, we'll go out right away in October, and we're going to start filming. It'll take about 9 months to get money, funding, filming, editing. And of course, in God's great way, he just laughed at my plans. And my partner called me 3 weeks ago and said, JJ, you won't believe it. We have more footage that we filmed to absolutely convict the federal government of what we believe is their crime. We can't sit on child sex trafficking. We're going to have to move our Invaded documentary back. And we're going to have to push the child sex trafficking, because morally we cannot sit on this and not tell the story. So we pushed that out, and we pushed Invaded back another month. Let me tell you about the people I interviewed, because it's very important that we understand who I talked to. I talked to whistleblowers from Health and Human Services that worked inside the government child detention facilities. I talked to people that were the escorts in the NGO child detention facilities that worked there for 8 years and transported children across state lines in America. I talked to people that were FBI whistleblowers that worked in child sex trafficking. I talked to the USCIS military analysts that determined, without a shadow of a doubt, that the cartels found a loophole in the sponsorship program to where when Border Patrol will arrest a U.S. citizen, a UAC, we turn them over and we turn them back to the cartels. And I'll go through what that looks like. So let me tell you, and the other people that I talked to were CIA operatives that went and run child rescue organizations that have rescued thousands of people. And I've talked to groups of people that go undercover and they find the child sex trafficking and human trafficking organizations to help law enforcement tie up a nice bow and hand them a case, and then they go with the warrants, they take them down. My interviews would last 2 hours to 5 hours with these people because it was so sick and the evidence was so immense. And I asked two people, two stories, and I want to tell you. First guy was Carlos Arellano. You can look him up. He's been in Congress. He's been all over the news. He was one of our main guys that we interviewed. My partner knew him for a long time. Worked every child detention facility in Texas. Over 100 child detention facilities are in Texas. Over 400 are across America. There's already a web, a highway to move children that our federal government has built. I interview these men before I talk about Carlos. At the end of my interview, 5-hour interview, I asked every one of them, all 12 of them. I said, I'm going to tell you a statement I have. And then all I want to hear from you is a yes or no. That's it. My belief, our documentary's belief, is the United States of America is the world's largest child sex trafficking organization in modern history. And this is what happened every single time. I could not get the word history out, my last word, before they shouted at me. Yes, yes, yes. They're child sex trafficking our government. And I'm talking about people that were moving the children. They were high-level executives inside these buildings making the policy determination, not some low-level person that saw an email or heard about it. I'm talking about the movers, the men that moved the children. And I asked two men, I asked them all kinds of questions, but these two I'm going to tell you because of time. And I said to both of them, first one, Carlos Arellano, he took kids all over the United States of America, high school dropout, GED. And I asked Carlos, you have to have thousands of escorts because you're moving thousands of kids. Are they like you? Meaning, I think Carlos is a very intelligent man, but I asked him, are they like you? I don't mean that negative. Were there people that had PhDs, CPS workers, child welfare? No. They're all like me. I said, so they're all high school dropouts. Where do you get them? Well, we go down to McAllen, Texas, and we go to the unemployment center and the day labor sites, and we take anybody that can work and we train them for one day and we leave them. And he said they are raping children in the NGOs. What's the evidence of that? His evidence is I was there and I watched it. Now, it's so bad, even our DOJ, federal DOJ, is now suing those Catholic charities and NGOs in Texas because of multiple rape allegations by the people that are handling the children. And I asked Carlos, and I said, okay, Carlos, think of me as a skeptic. I want you to tell me, convince me the federal government is child sex trafficking. He told me about 1,000 stories in 5 hours, but one stuck out, and I want to tell you. He said every couple of weeks, they would call us an all-hands-on meeting, and all the escorts would show up in Pecos, Texas, and Carrizo Spring. Think of giant FEMA camps, and they hold thousands of children. And we would load up our buses with 200 or 300 little kids. And then we would drive into midnight hours, and we would go to El Paso. And I was like, El Paso? Why would you be in the middle of Texas and drive down to border town El Paso? Well, JJ, because what's waiting in El Paso is an airstrip, a private airstrip, and on that airstrip would be 3 Lear jets, private Lear jets, unmarked, and we would push all 300 kids into the plane with us. And the rule was the pilots and the flight attendants could not speak to us, and we could not speak to the flight attendants and pilots, and they would fly us in the middle of the night across America, and then we would land in private airstrips all across America. And when we landed, there were vehicles waiting for us, and we would load up our kids. In the middle of the night, we would drive them to wealthy neighborhoods across America, and I would drop off kids, white kids to black families, black kids to white families, Asians to Hispanics, and on and on and on. And he said, because I was delivering a package. I said, I need you to say it out loud, Carlos. I was trafficking children. We were flying kids, and we still fly kids in the middle of the night all over the country. I go to another gentleman, 2.5 months later, has no idea I've spoken. I wall everybody off from these conversations. This man's name is Basil. He is a hardened war hero, and he's a former CIA operative that has all his contacts in place. And everyone that works in his organization has to be a tier 1 operator, meaning special forces, SEALs, Rangers, etc. Has to be those guys. And I said the same thing. Baz, why don't you tell me something? Tell me a story to convince me. And I'm talking to Baz, and in the corner I can see my partner filming with all his cameras. And Baz tells me 1,000 stories. Horrific. Makes me want to run out and vomit from these stories. But he tells me a story that was fascinating. And he said, let me tell you about the time that I got intel of 2 Lear jets are supposed to fly into Chattanooga, Tennessee in the middle of the night with 100 children. And I looked right over my partner like, oh, make sure you get this. Because now we have 2 stories from 2 different people telling the exact same thing from 2 different perspectives. He said, sure enough, JJ, we load up and we lay up and do surveillance, and here comes 2 Lear jets in Chattanooga Airport, Chattanooga, Tennessee, private airstrip. 2 planes land, 100 kids come out, and they push them out like cattle into waiting cars, vans, and buses, and they disappear in the middle of the night. Your government is the largest child sex trafficking organization in modern history, without a doubt. I'm going to prove it on film. And when you see it, you're not going to be able to unsee it. And what I've told you today, I want you to fact check everything that I do. In my books, in my documentary, I say tape, everything. because I know everyone's going to attack me and say I'm crazy, that I'm a conspiracy nut. I've heard it already. And everything I've said has come true. Everything that I'm telling you tonight is factually 100% true. In fact, it's from DHS data, not my data. My DHS lies. They segment their data. They lie to you. But just using their data is damning on them. Just like when you finish watching my documentary, the people that watch it can't unsee what you saw. And today you can't unhear what I told you. And when you go home and you fact check and you realize, dear God, that man is speaking the truth. There's only one question left. Only one that matters. What are you going to do about it? Because if you do nothing, you're complicit. And we are here in America in these desperate, horrible times where we have child sex trafficking, 50 million legal aliens in our country. We're in wars that we should never be in. Our economic system's crumbling. Our veterans are ignored, and on and on and on we go. And I lay it all at the feet of the American man, all of it, because God built in us that desire to protect our wives, our women, our sisters, and our children, and we did nothing. We did nothing. We bent the knee to mental patients, people that are horrific traitors to our nation. We did not get here overnight. We got here on a long, slippery slope into hell, into moral rot and societal chaos. And ma'am, you asked, what do we do? The only thing that I can say, and I did this been doing this for about 18 months after I retired, and I didn't have an answer about 6 months ago. And my answer came this way. I had to go give a talk to Turning Point USA in southern Georgia. This is right after Lincoln Riley got her head disfigured, her skull disfigured, and murdered by a illegal alien Venezuelan gang member. And I was doing research. I was like, God, what the heck do I talk to these 21-year-olds? Because I know they're going to ask me, what do we do? And I don't have an answer. And I'm watching, and I'm running through the clips, and I'm trying to get as much data as I can so I can sound as articulate as I can. And one of the videos I'm watching, and it's Mr. and Mrs. Riley. And they're in front of the Athens City Council and the mayor. And they're there demanding that the sanctuary laws be repealed. And I went, oh my God, that's the answer. Our founding fathers, the giants they were intellectually and spiritually and in their desire to build this nation, they knew it and they told us, they gave us the roadmap. It is the lowest level of government is the most efficient and most powerful. So you have to take over the city council, the mayor, because the mayor gets the chief of police. You have to vote in the sheriff in your county. You have to have a school board that's aligned with your values. And guess what? When you own that city and that county, then you cobble together a couple more counties. And now you own a state. And then the state does not ask the federal government, the federal government's rights are enumerated. I have to ask for my rights back as a state. I just take them. And now I have a couple states, and now I have a nation that's different. Just the same way the progressive and the anti-American, the Marxist, socialist, disgusting, evil left has done to our nation. They cobble together the small towns and communities, the counties, and then their states, and they've taken over our nation. That's how you take back America. We are in dire straits. But this is how it begins right here to take it back. Thank you very much.
Folks, I cannot begin to tell you. I've been here for only a few years doing this. Not that I'm a guru of any sort. This gentleman here, I believe, of all the podcasts I've had thus far, and I've been blessed with some great people. I am going to be putting this on every single day throughout the 15th. because, of course, has a film coming out, a documentary. This man is he's on the front line. He's been on the front line. And what he said was the God's honest truth. This government has turned its back on the legal citizens of America. Everyone thinks I'm a joke at times because I wanted to be governor. But the fact of the matter is, we have to take our state back. Missouri has got to take the state back. And we've got to set that example. I live in Daviess County. I have a sheriff that's corrupt. He's a bad man. And it's going to come out. It's going to come out very soon. We can't have that kind of leadership. And if, by chance, he were to ask me to, quote, get his back, I would turn away. But then again, I might stand behind him. You never know. Fact of the matter is, we have to get rid of these bad sheriffs. Sheriff Fish of Clinton County did not want to do his job in pursuing a Missouri statute of 573.440 and 573.550, which is criminal for our school children and the library, the public school library, to have these books in there. And the worst part about it is, even our state representative, Dean Van Schoik, would not step up when he was needed the most. And thus, therefore, as governor, I would have fired him on the spot. Figured out charges for not taking your oath of office in protecting and serving the community. So right there, I've named 3 people. One's getting reelected. That would be the sheriff, quote, Daviess County Sheriff Adams. And I'm hoping that he's going to be that fallen angel. We need to have people that will stand up against bad leadership. That's what I'm doing. Very, very soon, my Facebook page personal is going to be closed. I am going to get done with Facebook. I'm going to keep the common denominator. I have even considered tearing the common denominator network and putting it down. I don't want to. It's my therapy. So I'll probably continue on with the common denominator network on Facebook until, of course, I get booted off permanently. And the nights may change. I don't know yet. I just know one thing. We have to stay together. We've got to get messages like this out. JJ Carrell is probably, he's one of the few, notice what I'm saying, few heroes that we have. And right now, if it wasn't for that man, and I mean seriously, I grilled him for a moment to see if he knew some names so I could say, you know, I really am wanting to share what you're doing. And I did not know the depths of what he was involved with. 500 million children have been abducted, cannot be found across this country. They have been flown around in the middle of the night. And again, the flight crew does not talk to the babysitters, I'm going to call them, of these children. They go to their point of destination early in the morning, and they release these children into vans, buses, cars, what have you, and they disappear into the dusk of the morning. That was probably one of the most devastatingly hard-hitting stories that I got from that gentleman. I'm absolutely sure that what Dan Landy, Heath Gilbert, Joyce Tegner, Paula Allen, Colleen Harding of the Cameron community, I know what they are doing are for the children first. And yet, I've been blaming 4 different teachers, Tanya O'Boyles, Miss Dickett, I think it's Eva Beasley, and a teacher by the name of Pyatt. All of them have the DEI in the Cameron School District as their number one focus. I'm not making this up. DEI is not good, but we've got to get involved in our communities. As I said, I'm waiting now. I'm waiting for someone being stupid on my property. And I'm going to defend myself. And I'm going to defend my animals. And I'm going to defend my home. Folks, if you're not hearing this message, you better hear it loud and clear. Because you are going to have to be in the exact same position. We've got to get bad leadership out of office. We've got to get good leadership in. And we have to stand our ground. And we have to, by the way, and I'm going to say it the way it is, all of you Cameron people that go to your Friday or Saturday night football games that are so gosh darn important that you spend 3 hours a week, 4 days a month, coming to 12 hours a week. You know what, Cameron? You parents can't find 2 hours, maybe three, to go to a school board meeting. It's not just the teacher's fault. It is every single one of you that are not finding that time somehow, somewhere, some way to make it to these school board meetings, to let them know you do not want fentanyl in your school, to let them know you're not crazy about a privatized police force that has no general orders and that are only protecting the teachers when parents get assaulted. That school policies are stealing and taking away the parental rights of the children at that school and the parents at that school. When are you going to wake up and smell this coffee? It's bitter. I have been so hard on the teachers, it's not even funny. In a way, I want to apologize to the vast majority of them who are having to keep their jobs under some of these stiff-armed Marxist socialists, teachers, that are destroying our children's minds. If you parents don't start stepping up to bat and start getting involved once a month, just one of you have to come, not both of you, one. I'm telling you, you've lost your community right now and you don't even realize it. Fentanyl is in the schools right now as we speak. I personally know the facts of. And yes, police are aware of. So right there, folks, I've given you 4, actually 5. Pornography in the schools that don't belong there. Fentanyl in the schools, which are going to ultimately kill our kids. A privatized police force that answers to the masters of the school. Policies that are being violated. And I did forget the other one, the school book. Get this, the student handbook. If a straight A student gets messed up with the wrong kid, vandalizes, they are going to take his earned credits or her earned credits that they have acquired and accomplished away from them, hurting them from pursuing their scholastic or possibly maybe that's our sports, any kind of college ahead of them. That's not a punishment. Stealing what they've acquired is not a punishment. That is wrong. Have them clean up the mess that they made. I'm telling you right now, folks, it's in the small communities that you live in that you've got to get the heads together. We are being invaded. 2.5 years ago, August of 22, I showed intentionalinvasion.com. Look it up. 28-minute film. 28 minutes. Wyatt Watson, I can't think of Wiley's last name. And Brett Rogers of Don't Shoot Me Productions put this wonderful video together, a slight kind of documentary. I'm going to tell you right now, this is very, very, very important. It's very urgent. As I said, every day for the rest of this week, I'm going to post this whole complete entire piece. JJ Carrell has it right. We have been invaded. We have had our government has our rights taken away right now. We are definitely in a bad zone. And if you think it ain't true, listen to the good news. That would be, for instance, I know no one likes to hear it, Fox News, OAN, maybe Sky News out of Australia. Hell, Sky News out of Australia has a better grip on what is actually happening in America than darn near every single mass media in America. Why? Because mass media has been propagandized and is being used to hurt us. And yes, it's been done on purpose. You really nailed it. It's been on purpose. And really, the side effects of ADHD drugs, ADHD drugs have destroyed the youth. You know, you have to watch what the kids are eating. I think it's red, blue dyes, and I think yellow. Don't quote me on those. Please look at it. I'm going to be sending this out every single day this week. And I need to do it. I need to let people hear this. And please, this is the most important program I have ever put on yet. And reason being, because this man has more information. Get his book. It's not a big, thick, heavy book. Support this gentleman. Get this message out. It makes my heart bleed that we are not doing better as a nation. But it really, we can't handle what's happening in Washington, but we can handle what's happening in our communities. And even in a little community of Cameron, it's in and going into the toilet bowl. Folks, Ross, thank you for coming on. I wish you would have been here sooner, brother. You've really missed, I mean, seriously, a great program. But tomorrow I'm going to be putting it on during my regular scheduled time of 5 to 7. I think I'm going to try and do that every single night through through Saturday. Because that's when the film festival down in Texas will be done. I was hoping to go down there. Who knows? I may just actually drive 13 hours to go watch his film, to be with him and the people that he's has made this documentary with. That's how important this is to me. Whether my car will make it, I don't know. But I think I'm going to really seriously try. Yep, I'm going to giddy up down there in Texas. Not crazy about it, by the way. At least I've got family that I can stay with. It's in Greenville. Let me put this banner up on the bottom again. It's a First Amendment Film Festival. It's in Greenville, Texas. And it's going to be starting on Friday, 2:30 in the afternoon, to Sunday at 3:30 in the afternoon. They're going to be putting in some great documentaries. This is a must to look up on. Follow JJ Carrell on the media. And I will probably have to make a ticker. I should have done something for him direct. I normally do. But this is so important. I know I'm going to push it that much more. God bless all of you that are watching. Ruth, Julie, Kimberly, Crystal, Ross, and I didn't see Don Corleone was on. I didn't see others, but that's okay. I know you're there. I see some numbers, and that's what matters most to me. And I thank you for being here. I really mean that. I thank you so very much. Everyone thinks that we're nuts, that we're rednecks, that we're stupid, that we need our guns because, no, we need our guns now more than ever. And you can't have enough ammunition. And we need to replace the judges in the courtrooms because we need to get more of them. And we need to back and support our good sheriffs. AJ Carrell is of Clinton County. Fish should just step away. He is feckless. And he's just getting that paycheck. And he's just wasting and hurting the citizens of Cameron, the county of Clinton. So Fish, stop. Sign it over to AJ yesterday. Yep, I just said that to you. I've reached out to you. You won't call me back. I wonder why. Because the truth hurts. I don't like mincing words. I'm not really a great diplomat. And I'm going to be the first one to say it. I'll offend someone in a drop of a hat, blink of an eye. But you know what? If you can't handle it, go back to your rock, get underneath that rock, or go back to your cave and stay there. Because I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm getting off Facebook for Vincent Cooper. I'm getting off in about 3-4 weeks. I've got petitions of motions to file for courts, cases. And it's probably in my best interest because I can't tell you any other way, but I see some of these comments that come across to me, the threats, they're ugly. But I'm not afraid. God's on my side. And if you don't have God in your life, folks, I pray that you find Jesus Christ. I pray that you find God. I pray that you just realize we cannot continue on the path that we've been on. The liberal Democrats, the loony lefts, have destroyed this country. And by the way, several Republicans, many Republicans, start paying attention. Because come November 4th, at the end of, and the ballots are counted, this country's going to go one way or the other, and it's going to be cray-cray crazy. And I'm not making a threat here. I'm just saying that's a fact. Please continue to watch and share, like, and get this video out at all costs. God bless each and every one of you. Kimberly, thank you. Thank you. What did you write here? Check out Nick Shirley today, outside the debate. Thanks for all of you, for all you do. Thank you very much, Kimberly. I appreciate it. And by the way, Kimberly sends me some stuff. I can't read half the stuff. I wish I had a team of people to say, just 2 people, just look at what Kimberly sent you. And I've got several others. Keep it coming into me. I do use it. It's in my wheelhouse. It is valuable material. Thank you. God bless all of us. God bless America. And all I can say is God bless Donald Trump. And yeah, he's not Jesus Christ. He's not the Antichrist. He is just a man. But he's been the best damn thing this country could have asked for in leadership between 16 and 2020. You may not like the man. You may not like the way he talks. But by golly, his actions have spoken volumes. From my heart to each and every one of you, biggest of hugs, cyber hugs, as my Auntie Ruth says, to all of you. God bless you, and have a stellar, stellar evening. Peace.